course you did. I don't believe this. You've already woken her up. Are you planning on killing her, like the others? Just how motivated are you to destroying everything in this world? Calm down, E. Neither of you should be bickering. But I will concede even to her that it's disgustingly ironic. Why are you calling me E? What do you think the term coal rod actually means? Some dead language's word for doombringer? No. Rearrange the letters, and it will mean exactly what she intended for it to mean. Colored. Oh, like the chapter title. That's idiotic. Coal rod is missing an... Yeah, I just put 2 and 2 together as well. What the hell is this? A mockery. She knew from the beginning what would undermine the existence she manufactured with the help of her gathered influence. The Geiken will come as intended, but at the incorrect time and under the incorrect context, which is why they will fail. The world will die, but it will be reborn, under the same colors and nominations dictated by the very forces that caused this endless cycle. What have they told you about how the world was made? That it was through a culmination of efforts by the elements that make up this world? That the Fours somehow crafted such an impossibility with nothing, and that the only side effect was the unfortunate substance personified as the Grey God? The being that we have come to ascribe to being the absolute evil in the world, the one who desires liberty in exchange for complete silence? I saw that black orb in the middle there. Anyway, the answer is no. Like all beginnings, existence started as nothing. A void amongst echoes that started from nowhere and will go to ends that will never be conceptualized. Black. But without any provocation. Light entered this nothingness and mingled with the dark. A union birthed from love and acceptance for one another gave way to an entity that had no form, no thoughts, no desires. Only love. For itself, for the world, for the dark, for the light. This is the true identity of the Grey God. For when white intermingles with black, it creates gray, a neutral harmony that flows without end, an existence that knows no pain. But it was never to be forever, because the same substance that begat this endless sea of neutrality existed as well, and due to its nature, it caused the very first idea ever conceived in this world. Conflict. As time did not exist, everything happened simultaneously. The very influence that brought light to the dark had passed through the gray existence and split it once more. Like a prism, The result of the split created what we know as colors. The influence that created the split is referred to as prism. It wouldn't have even been a flicker of a thought. The conflicting colors would have destroyed what was once, the conflicting colors would have destroyed what was created, and the world would fall silent once more. Doomed to repeat itself? It's a possibility, but we would never know. Because, through no choice of its own, the single color that passed once again through the prism was also the one that came out on top. It gained sentience. Red. It conceived of a way to halt the conflict that it had with the other colors, and created a way for the beginning to continually separate from the end. We call it time. Using the prism as a way to create divinity, red combined itself with the colors orange and yellow to grant itself more influence over the other three. And using its power, it gave us green, blue, and purple, limited sentience. Together, we created form. Separating the gray from the prism, we gave birth to the prismatic world and the gray world, where the two entities live separately so as to not destroy our time and return to conflict. And to enact complete separation, a third world was conceived to serve as the barrier, aptly named the Barrier World. To you, the mortal world. Through mortality, we were able to allow ourselves to be upheld through forms and ideals. As mortal kind saw us as the physical representations of what supposedly created their world, they rejected all else. Okay. As neither Gray nor Prism held any ground in either of these areas, at least in the Barrier World, neither could cross it. They were doomed to be apart until the end of time, a seal that, by its very nature, was meant to grow endlessly. But that was not to be. Perhaps because of my nature as being the combination of both red, the progenitor, and blue, the progeny, as purple, I was given a semblance of sentience, enough to recognize the pain red was bringing to the universe. The tri-world, as it were. I was able to commune with both the gray essence and their prismatic substance. As I grew to understand their yearning for one another, I grew more sympathetic. Okay, so are you not actually the one that was in the middle of the Codigan's temple during that one revelation scene? No, I'm not sure. Probably not. Unless you were summoned there and held there? I don't know. Possibly? Because Sally did know that you were here. Is she the one that sealed you here? Okay, rereading this sentence, I understand it now. And in the end, I decided to betray the very being that allowed for my own sentience and capability of understanding pain in the first place. Together, 3 of us conceived of a plan to bring the mortal world to its end, to crush the barrier that separated the original 2, and to bring harmony to the chaos that was seeded. Soul, you are the physical incarnation of the gray essence. And Perrin, you are the physical incarnation of the prismatic substance. Together, we created Dark Isle. Acting as a mirror to the barrier world, it would serve as a bridge from the gray world to the prismatic world through an exchange. Gray would enter the barrier world, and Prism would enter Dark Isle. The exchange would act as an agreement between both worlds that neither should exist. It would serve as the idea to be implanted into all mortal beings, while the Geiken would serve as the form that the end would take. But it would only come when mortal kind itself understood the necessity of this exchange. The Geiken would come when the barrier world had erupted into endless pain. And upon that understanding, they would take Gray and give Prism. Then, how? We studied mortal kind. We saw how susceptible they were to protecting their progeny, the very thing that continued their own cycle. Dark Isle would form a boy of an infant child, so that inevitably, when one would enter, they would bring it back into the barrier world. I was that child. Yes. Likewise, we watched as the opposite took place. Mortal beings underwent death and began the cycle anew. The barrier world then fashioned a body whose only purpose was to die, so as to not inform Red of any uncounted deaths, that would carry Prism into Dark Isle upon its mortal passing. You, Perrin. You are a form that feels no pain and does not function as a normal living being would. A walking corpse whose multiple possible deaths wouldn't cause Red to bat an eye. We sought to use the rules of the barrier world against itself, so that in the end, it would willingly allow itself to end, and Red would not be able to stop it. Willing allows itself to end, and Red would not be able to stop it. Okay. We would collapse time itself so that all would return to zero, and the colors would be excised. Pain would cease to exist. Peace would be in abundance. How did you fail? She knew. It is not known how or when Red became aware of my supposed betrayal, but she acted upon it in the only way that could have undone everything we had prepared for. Like she separated Gray and Prism, she separated me into 2 halves, my will and my understanding. Salvatore Cottigan acts as the corporeal form of the motivation I had to persevere through time and pain, and to enact all parts of the plan as were intended. But she now seeks to bring the Geiken in forcibly, without understanding why it is she has the desire to do so. Now the world has fallen into pain and chaos by our doing. And, like you both, it has rejected the Geiken, Prism, and Grey, and refuses them their right to exist. You fight, you argue, you kill. You try to end what was always meant to end the need to do all of that. It is a brilliant stratagem. I now stand here, basking in my own failure as the separate side that understands, but does not have the will to continue. My mind and body perceive the undoing of our plan as the ultimate failure, and it is crippling enough to stay my hand. Perpetually, this awareness desists me further, and now, here we are, reunited, with only a single realization to share amongst each other. It is all futile. There isn't a way to postpone the Geiken's arrival? Keep them at bay until the world is ready? Heh, you propose the idea as if you have grown sympathy for the cause of a dying three. Dissuade yourself from thinking I am right. It is your world, after all, that will die should I succeed. Should we succeed. But it's now impossible. You should be savoring it. Red, as Hetrana, is allowing for the Geiken to enter this world so that they may be destroyed. The Geiken will be rejected, the goddesses praised, the both of you hailed as heroes. You will all die, but you will be allowed to be reborn. And in this new world, forces conspiring to destroy you would cease to be. I don't like this decision. And I need a chance for this all to sink in. I have to stop you? From what? Changing everything to non-existence? That does sound kind of not good. Because you didn't say whether this non-existence would have consciousness. Sure, there would be peace. But that peace is not something I agree with. In fact, I have some very deep, very, very deep qualms about this sort of peace. So you know what? At the same time, I feel like I need to sort of help you. Because, like, this isn't according to plan. This whole thing about time going on and us being reborn and no longer being hunted is not according to plan. Which obviously it isn't. But I feel like we're supposed to kind of... like you're expecting us to go against this. Us being heralded as heroes and dying and being reborn. But you know, through my own personal... I'm trying to think of the word. Shoot. What is the word? Inner turmoil, I guess? We'll go with that. I have to stop you. I know. It is not right for you to feel sorry for us. I only feel as if I have failed you, but if both tragically and mercifully, you will never know the pain of that loss. So then what are we supposed to do? What you were always meant to. Soul, you have fulfilled your purpose by coming to the barrier world, and whether or not you are Red's pawn to kill Perrin is negligible. He will enter willingly, or not, by all other forces. I have allowed you and your allies access through the Cortex. You may return to help them during the attack, but I would advise you, Perrin, to instead travel to the Colosseum in the Parieta. It was designed to repeat the Northern event, which you should know by now was a catastrophe caused by Red in reciprocation for Geiken capturing Lasha. Oh, that was Lasha. That's why I didn't recognize her. Because we haven't actually successfully met her yet. And was Lasha still there in the temple? Because we did see somebody there when we were there. Anyway, it had no real meaning aside from further enraging Geiken and motivating her to hasten her plans. Use of the Colosseum while you are still here will undoubtedly kill you, and if you wish to postpone your journey, see to its destruction. I have said enough. The two of you now understand the nature of your identities, and how it is all meaningless. Red will win. Live out your lives as happily as you can. It is the least I can wish for you both after I have failed you. I am so sorry. Perrin? Why do you think Iris told us all of that? She warned us against having sympathy for our plight, and then explained that it was futile to try and fight against Red. If that's the case, though, why tell us everything to begin with? She was waiting for both of us to arrive before she told us the truth. If you only went down there to ask to open the Cortex, telling us both our origins is almost peripheral. What, we're chummy now? I'm just gonna say nothing because... boy, I'm having trouble letting this sink in. I don't think Iris alone had planned for us to listen to the truth. I think she only reacted as she was meant to, like an instinct. She told us that she and Geiken are the same being broken into two. What if they aren't as broken as she implied? What I mean is, what if both of them somehow subconsciously planned for the two of us to meet here, understand what's really going on, and then attempt to act on it? Okay, how would we do that? If the Geiken end up destroying the world, and we're the only ones left, do you think any sympathy we've attained would be enough not to reject a union between Grey and Prism? What I mean is, If mortal kind's acceptance is needed to allow for the exchange, would that not apply to the only mortals left alive? That could be us. So we let the Geiken destroy everything? That is up to you. You're the one who was meant to bring the Geiken in. I've always tried to live my life attempting to do what I thought was right. Perhaps misguided. For once, I feel as if I know what right is in terms of us, our world. I need to think about what needs to be done. But that does not mean I expect you to make the same decision as me. If you decide that our reunion is the right thing to do, find me, alone, after the Geiken have fulfilled their one and only purpose in this world. And if not, then this will be the last time we see each other. If you choose the former, I'll see you later. If the latter, then this is goodbye, Prism. Hey, by the way, what happened to Drake? So Perrin is now the Prism. Okay. Of all the times for this to happen, first I gotta try to figure out everything that happened in that revelation at the spring, and now I gotta let all this sink in. Yep. Today's stream is over, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.